Hello and welcome to Will Watchers. This is Vinland Saga episode 19. So last episode we had the fight between Thorfinn and Thorkel. I don't know if that's over yet. You know, Thorfinn got launched. Is he going to get back up and carry on fighting? Or is that the fight finished now? And what are the consequences there for what's going to happen to Askeladd? And then we had this great moment for Canute, him having this internal conflict and this internal realization where now he's going to step up to the mantle and become king, and we're already seeing his personality really shift here as he's like taking command, which is really cool. So before we jump into this episode, be sure to check out the Patreon page. Over there you can find 1 week early access, so you can get episode 20 and 21 right now. You can also find polls so you can vote for what's next, and you can find a full-length timer-based version of this where you just sync out your own footage and you can watch along with me. So yeah, let's just jump right in. Yeah, Thorkel doesn't want it to be over either. Okay, yeah, still wants to carry on fighting. Oh yeah, Thorkel wants it to be an interesting fight though. He's actually going to let him recover. Oh my god! Yeah, okay. Maybe he does need a bit of time. What, he's just going to sit there till he's ready to fight again? I mean, his arm's not going to be good for months, is it? I like that Askeladd's giving him advice. Oh, okay, yeah. That might be nice, just a little episode of backstory. Oh, really? So Helga's a little bit royalty? And his older brother. Oh, okay, yeah. Bit of relation there. Yeah, he assumed he was dead. It could be that Thorfinn is almost fulfilling that role for him. How's he gonna react here? I thought he'd be like super happy, yeah? Was he too shocked to keep quiet? Yeah, he needs to keep it down. Keep a low profile. Yeah, he wants this to be a big celebration. Will he actually understand much? I wonder how Thorkel will he respect this. That's interesting that he actually knew though. Yeah, because the existence of Thorfinn would have like confirmed that to him anyway. Yeah, you can see how serious he is in his eyes. Not reacting at all though. Will he give him one last fight? Fighting without his sword, okay. Yeah, that is kind of like how Thorkel communicates, you know, through fighting.
戦士に大切なのは魂、そのありかだ。 奴の魂は遠くへ行った。
Oh, okay. But like his warrior's soul, it was replaced with like a father's soul almost.
奴はアイスランドでどんな風に過ごしていた？教えてくれ。
嫌なこった。
俺は話してやったじゃねえか。
うるせえ、知るか。
Still not revealed that Askeladd was the one that killed him.
トールズから何にも学ばなかったのがバレるのが恥ずかしいんだろ。いや待て。
Don't let him get in your head, yeah.
普通にやれば間違いなく負けるぞ。
Yeah, that crack, can hear that.
お前の勝敗は今や俺の生死だ。だから教えてよ、あのバケモンの倒し方を。
Oh, he has a plan. He's always got the tactics.
大将を倒せば終わるってもんじゃねえ。だが今は違う。奴は勝てば逃がすと言う。
If Askeladd had killed him, all of Forkel's men would have killed Askeladd in revenge.
今だけでいい。俺を参謀として認めろ。
You know, even if he doesn't like Askeladd, he has to acknowledge his intelligence.
この当時はフレイヤ神か。
女神ちゃん。
Oh, and then they're gonna run into Canute here.
フレイヤの化身だ。
Completely rejuvenated, reborn. Oh, does it involve using your environment to your advantage? All of these trees around now. You maybe use the crowd and the snow as well.
あれはモールドンの戦いだったが。
Oh, Molden, okay.
ほんの一瞬だが確かに見た。あの無敵のトルケルが崩れ落ちる。
Okay. I mean, we know he's very strong and explosive. Does he just not have endurance?
少し根性見せるかと思ったのによ。いい位置だ。よくやったトルフィン。
He's hiding like another blade or something.
一瞬の隙。
Oh, playing dirty a bit.
奴の弱点は
What's his weakness? His balance? Or his head? Okay. What? Just one kick to the head? Oh!
バカ野郎！獲物もなしでトルフィン！
Does he need it? Took out his eye.
あのガキを殺せ！
No, no, Forkel will stop them, won't he? Forkel's still alive here. Is it?
こそ！やめろバカども！
Yeah, honor the duel.
すげえとてめえ。
Is he just gonna kill him?
誰がこの500人の獣どもをまとめられるって言うんだ！
That actually got to Forkel a bit or not?
これ以上争ってはならぬ。この戦で死ぬ者は犬死にだぞ。
Dying without purpose.
そんな。全滅なのか。
Yeah, yeah.
おじさん、誰？
He just completely lost it, hasn't he?
トルフィンを離せ。この決闘は俺の負けだ。
大将は負けてね。俺たちが邪魔し。
He lost because you interfered.
俺の負けだ。ちった格好つけさせろ。アスゲート。
Borfin's got some good hits on him now. Fingers and an eye gone.
不愉快だ。50年生きてきて今日ほど不愉快だ。
Oh, really? He's 50 years old as well.
おいハゲ、今のうちにずらかれぞ。
生きたきゃいけ。俺は残る。
He wants to actually see what's going on here.
スベン王とまみえる際の切り札になる。そう考えているのか。
Yeah, but he knows that isn't true.
人質で金づるだ。
王子は諦めろ。よく書くんじゃねえ。
いいから見てろ。
Askeladd has clocked what's happening, yeah.
私の生存は父王にとって憂いのもとだ。
Yeah, casting up the weak one there.
ゲインズバラの軍団本営へ父 父王と喧嘩だ。
Directly confront the king, okay. Would he maybe fight Harold as well?
俺はな、命は惜しくないなんて抜かせやつは腐るほど見てきた。
But for a prince to say
つ
it.
いただけで泣いて命乞いしやがる。てめえもその口だろう。あ？
No, he's stern faced. Not even gonna flinch. I mean, what a switch for Canute.
こういう目には見覚えがある。
Just like Force's eyes.
なぜあの時俺はトールズについていかなかったのか。
Oh, really? He wanted to follow Force?
時奴についてってれば本当の戦士の秘密を知ることができただろう。
Yeah, I guess so. Although he might not have been happy with the answer.
よし、決めた。その喧嘩、助だ。
Yeah, like I was kind of expecting that when he said that. Okay, so everyone here is all going.
その代わりぬるいことしやがったら即ぶっ殺すかんな。
Could Askeladd and Forkel both start training him up a
の
bit?
じゅ
クヌート殿下。
Oh,
ナル殿を殺したのは私です。
yeah, missing to that as well.
ですがもし生かしをきくださるというのであればお役に立ちます。
Forfin's not gonna like that though.
家来になったのは俺の方が先なんだよ。まあとにかく仲良くやろうぜ。あらかた殺しちゃったけど水に流せやな。
Okay, what an interesting turn of events. So everyone is now following Canute, Askeladd, Forfin by default really, and then Forkel as well. And he wants to go and kill the king, King Swayan. I feel like he will. I don't see him losing that just because Swayan, he's very old now. So he's past his prime, definitely, probably quite an easy kill. I think the knock-on effects of that with what would happen with Harold is probably where things get most interesting, because that will I mean, they already have this rivalry, but that will like fully cement it probably. And then I imagine that means Canute becomes King of England, because England is basically taken now. Canute becomes King of England. Maybe we'll see him do that deal with Wales as well, so Wales is safe. And then he's up against Harold, who he has a few places, right? He has Norway and Sweden, a lot of like the kind of Nordic countries, the like Scandinavian ones. So I don't know, technically how much power each will have. We've obviously seen they've hyped up Harold a bit, but I'm still not 100% sure exactly the entire areas that he rules over versus what Canute will have control of, But that feels like, if he takes out Swayan, then the next step is him versus Harold, really, and it will create this like really interesting political landscape of the two brothers up against each other. And we know from history, it's all families, all interconnected, brothers fighting brothers, kings and kings that are brothers or cousins or very closely related, always fighting each other. It was interesting to see some of the backstory with Forkel, him talking about Thor's, obviously the days in the Joms Vikings. And Helga is actually related to the leader of the Joms Vikings. I did say, so he's technically royalty, but I don't think that leader of the Joms Vikings, I don't know if they were actually royalty, they were just the leader of the Joms Vikings, but it does mean that Thorfinn and Forkel are like technically related, great uncle, great nephew, which is very interesting. And, I had considered the implications of Thorfinn showing up and what Forkel would think of that. So it makes sense that Forkel wasn't as surprised as he was, because he already knew Thors was still alive. Because I was thinking, when Thorfinn shows up, obviously Forkel would have known about Ylva, but he wouldn't have known about Thorfinn. So he would have questioned, like, how did Thors have another kid? This kid would have been born after he had died. You could have maybe thought that Helga was like pregnant really early stages when Thors had died. Maybe that would be what he had assumed, but he did actually know that they had survived. And then it's interesting, his regret there, he actually regretted not going with them, and maybe he didn't really have that chance because, you know, he went for that swing, they had a little bit of a fight there and was knocked out, and that was actually like maybe a bit of setup, showing his weak spot is his head, because Fours knocked him out by punching him in the head there as well. So, you know, a bit of setup, a bit of consistency there. We know Forkel's big weakness now is basically just whack him in the head, I guess. I was really wondering what Askeladd's, you know, tactic during that duel would be, what he'd come up with for Thorfinn. I was hoping, you know, it wasn't anything too like crafty that would kind of be dishonorable and break the rules of the duel. It was a little bit with him shining the light, but it wasn't anything like too bad, I think. You know, it was a little bit dishonorable, I guess, you know, blinding him for that split second, giving Thorfinn the chance. But I thought it could have been worse than that, I guess. If Thorfinn had like Fate being knocked out, and then, you know, Forkel gets close and then he thinks the duel is over, like that would be more dishonorable, I guess. And Thorfinn, he got a good hit in there in the eye, so, you know, he's taken off 2 fingers and an eye now. That's the most damage we've actually seen on Forkel this whole time. You know, he's got some scars and things, I think, but never an injury this bad. This is like, Thorfinn is his most competent opponent that maybe he's ever faced, you know, or the one that's actually done the most damage to him. But yeah, that was a really interesting fight. And then, you know, we see Forkel say that he lost the fight, and I'm wondering what it is that he considers losing. Is it because his men interrupted? I kind of feel like that's them dishonoring the sanctity of the duel. Or is it more that, you know, Thorfinn did get a good few hits on him? I was kind of expecting maybe the fight, because they went into like the forest and it was cutting down the trees, maybe Thorfinn would use some of the environment to his advantage, like if he could get higher to get on his level, you know, where all of his vitals are. He obviously did get up high and get to his vitals a bit by jumping on him, but I was expecting maybe him to use the surroundings a bit more, or use the fact that there was the crowd, you know, he got thrown into the crowd, but he was just like buying time a little bit. It was funny as well, you know, we see Askeladd had seen Forkel's weakness in the Battle of Malden. It's always great when there's places that show up. I go to Malden quite often, and Malden is where Malden salt, the quite famous salt, is from. Just the little name drops like that when it's places, you know, it's just like, you know, it doesn't add anything to the story, but it's just interesting. You're like, oh yeah, it's just that little bit of relatability, I guess. But I do know there is history, because in Malden, there's this statue that I've seen when I've visited. There's a statue of a Viking there, which is quite funny. I don't know if that is, you know, could there have actually been a warrior called Forkel or Askeladd or something, and that statue is named after them, you know, and then the character is as well. I can't from memory think of what the who the statue is of, but that'd be really interesting. And I do know now that Askeladd is actually the name of a character that's kind of a recurring character in a lot of mythology as well. This show is very obviously very well researched in terms of the, you know, the geopolitics and the history of the Vikings here. And I do wonder what Forkel would make of Thor's new like true warrior ideology. You know, he said he wanted to go with him to find out what that was, but would he actually have liked the answer? Would he have that kind of thoughtfulness to listen and consider what Thor's was saying, or would he start to dismiss it? I'm not sure. Obviously, it was funny when, you know, he showed up when Thor's was trying to escape, and immediately I was like, oh, he's going to be like super jolly and cheerful and draw a bunch of attention, which he was. But he was also kind of shocked silent for a few moments there as well. And we see his almost way of communicating is through battle and through violence, and he wants to fight Thor's. Maybe just that's his last opportunity to, and he's just probably processing, not really sure what to make of it. and it was kind of like his duty because Thor was like an abandoner, so it's kind of he needed to do that as well. So I think that's everything. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, consider leaving a like or a comment. If you really loved it, be sure to subscribe so you can keep up to date on all the future uploads. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.